Tonight's webinar is week 5, part 2 of the Star Diamond in 60 Days training. I had a little combo with Scotty, Meg, and Brandy, and we are coming up with ideas to get you guys to re-engage, get excited like you were at the beginning of this webinar or this training series, because we want to help you guys maximize your results during this training series. The last time I ran this training series, there was less coaches who participated, and we busted out over 20 diamond coaches in 60 days. So I want to outdo that number, and I want you guys to hit diamond, to hit your goals, and possibly win a cash prize. So remember, if you hit the rank, hit diamond or above, you will go into a drawing to win cash prize. To win a cash prize, there's going to be 3 winners in the diamond category for each team. So Scotty's going to have 3 winners, Meg will have 3 winners, Brandy will have 3 winners, and I will have 3 winners. So you guys got to do whatever you got to do to get to diamond in the next couple weeks. And tonight's webinar is going to help you do just that. So I don't know. Do you guys know who Janelle Summers is? Probably not, right? You guys probably have never heard of her. Well, that's a joke, because everyone knows who Janelle is. She's one of the sweetest people that you could ever meet. She is so down to earth, so nice, and you guys know my story, but when I first got started, Janelle was the reason why I didn't quit and didn't give up and just kept moving forward, because she is a fabulous leader. She was, a lot of us start out where no one believes in what we're doing because they don't get it yet. But Janelle believed in me. She related with my doubts. She was straight with me about how this business works. She told me, hey, if you want to hit those goals, I'm not going to tell you you're going to do it by working 1 hour a day. If you want to get $1,000 a week by 1 year, you're going to have to put in a little more hours every day than just 1 hour a day. So you might need to kick it up to maybe 3 hours a day. And so she's always been really straight with me, of course, in the sweetest way possible, because she doesn't have a mean bone in her body. And she has this way of leading other people and helping them reach their goals. And a lot of it has to do with she genuinely cares about helping people, and she is very, very bright about this business. Well, about everything, but especially about this business. Before she joined, she was on the fence about joining it herself, because she didn't think that she had enough time. She didn't know, she doesn't want to jump into something unless she's going to just give it all she got. So she really researched this and figured out what works and what doesn't, and she's always, always, always coming up with new and better ways on how to work her business more efficiently and then train her team how to do the same. So last time I ran this training, of course, out of all the topics I could have asked Janelle to speak on, I said, dude, you got to speak on creating a 6-figure business, because not only is Janelle obviously earning actually 7 figures, she's double 15-star diamond coach, all these things, right? So she's obviously one of the top coaches. She was ranked number 3 in the entire company, and I believe last year she was ranked number 2. She's been in the top 10 for 3 years in a row. But what I think is even cooler about Janelle is that she has the ability to help her coaches become six-figure earners. She has multiple 6-figure earners on her team, and every single year she's creating more. And actually, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but this year and last year, her push goal for the year was to create X amount of number of 6-figure earners on her team. So she sets out to do that. So of course that's what we're going to have her speak on tonight. So again, like I said, she spoke on this topic last year, or well, not last year, a couple months ago for my Star Diamond training, and I'm just going to replay that training for you guys. This was a training that was exclusively only for my diamond and above coaches. So as we go through, and you might hear her say, I know you guys are diamond and above. Well, we talked about this, Scotty, Meg, Brandy, and I, and we decided it's week 5. You guys are getting there. You guys should be. Some of you have already went diamond. A lot of you are close. This information isn't over your head. This information is something that will help you get to diamond faster. And then, more importantly, she's going to talk about how to get to diamond and beyond. Because when you get to diamond, you just don't want to sit there and, not just sit there and not keep growing. You obviously want to try to develop leaders and always be growing. As you can see, Scotty didn't stop at diamond. Meg never stopped at diamond. Brandy never stopped at diamond. And all of us are always growing. All right. So before I have played Janelle's creating a six-figure business call, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about her. I kind of went over this already, but she's a double 15-star diamond coach, and actually in her third business center, I think it's very close to 15-star as well. She's 3-time elite top 10. She's a former CAB member. Obviously, she is my upline coach and my really good friend. She's like a social media guru. She's obsessed with it. We hate all the time talking about new things that are working and what's not working. And most importantly, she's a mom, a wife, a turbo addict, and a friend. So I'm going to just play this recording of Janelle's call. But before I do that, I just wanted to make sure that you guys have a pen in hand, because every time you hear Janelle speak, she always is very motivating and everything, but on top of that, she always gives takeaways. Like, that is always, you get takeaways from her calls. So make sure you're ready to take notes, and I'll have Janelle take it away.
Okay, awesome. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure and an honor to be on this call. Obviously, Mindy, you're my top coach, 15-star diamond, top earning coach, and I consider you a business partner. I mean, like I've said before, I don't consider you as being someone that's under me in any sense of the matter. I consider you as someone that's, I can look to brainstorm and bounce ideas off of, and you obviously have paved the way for so many of your coaches and have done so many things that I wasn't doing, definitely, as I was growing my business. So I've learned a lot from you, and you all are so incredibly lucky to have Mindy as a leader. When I first started the business, I really did not know what I was doing. And one thing I learned, and I hope that you all learned, and probably already have learned, but just a reminder, you have to be a sponge. You have to be a sponge with everything that Mindy is doing and the other leaders are doing, and take away what you think will work for you and for your business. And you're each going to have your own way, and there's going to be some things that I say that maybe conflict with what another coach has said, or maybe even conflict with your style of doing things. If something is working for you, by all means, continue doing that. But if it's not working for you and you've just been stubborn, and believe me, that's me. I'm describing myself in many ways there. I've been stubborn about certain things and, not wanting to try certain things and just saying, well, I'm going to make it work this way, and it's not working. So if you're being stubborn about certain things, something's not working, part of personal development and growing as a business leader is taking that uncomfortable step to do something different and to make some changes that are a little bit outside your comfort zone and not what you're used to doing. But like I said, if what you're doing is not working and you feel like you're not moving forward fast enough, then try something new. But I also want to say that if you're newer as a diamond, sometimes it's just that you haven't had enough time in the business yet. We've said over and over that the business has a 30 to 90-day delay. So I've had some coaches who, are doing things right as of now, and then they expect, next week or the week after that things are really going to start picking up, and all of a sudden they're going to start getting success club points or start, gaining new coaches on their team or whatever, and it just doesn't work that way. There's always that delay where you're starting to do things correctly, and when people really start to act on the things you're saying and doing is 30 to 90 days later. And that's because that's just the nature of people. They need to hear things repetitively before they'll typically act on them. I forget what the statistic is that Carl has told us before, but for someone to eventually buy from infomercial, they have to, see the infomercial X number of times. They typically don't buy the first time they've seen it. And we all know that's true. It takes seeing something over and over and for it to kind of suddenly get on your radar before you actually act on it. So the people that are in your audience on Facebook or on Instagram or wherever, they need to hear things and see things repetitively. And I'm sure you've already experienced it before where someone came out of the woodwork and out of the blue and just suddenly said, I've been following you and you've been so inspiring and thank you and things like that. And you're thinking, oh my goodness, I've never heard from that person before. I never even noticed they ever liked on anything or commented on anything before. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, they're telling you that you've been their inspiration for months or you've helped them lose 10 pounds and you didn't know it. So just know that some of what you're experiencing, if you're not experiencing success yet, might be just because you haven't been doing this long enough yet. And that's why it's so key that you stay with it and you stay really consistent. But if you have been doing things for a while, 6 months or more, and you really feel like you're not where you should be, then definitely open your mind to trying some different things that have worked for other coaches. That's why I think it is so incredibly key to listen to the National Wake-Up Call. I have what's called the core activities that I give to my coaches after we do our Getting Started Right call. And as part of the core activities, I have like 11 things, and part of the core activities, one of them is to listen to the National Wake-Up Call. And one of the reasons I think that is so incredibly key, I don't care what level you're at, if you're brand new or you're 15-star diamond, you'll learn from other coaches. And everyone does things a little bit differently. The National Wake-Up Call today was fantastic. She gave some really great tips, some things I hadn't thought about before, just excellent tips. So you really want to be learning from other coaches and finding different ways of doing things that will work for you and work for your coaches. And like I said, you really just have to be a sponge for your sake, of course, for your own business, but for the business of your coaches. This business is about making other people successful, period. You write that down. That should be something that comes out of your mouth all the time when you're talking to prospects, when you're talking to your own coaches. This business is about making other people successful. It's about making customers successful. It's about making them feel successful. It's about making your coaches feel and be successful. And a lot of times what that means is that you have to make things simple enough for them to figure out what they have to do and structured enough so that they know what's coming next, and systematic enough so that it's easy for them to follow. So that goes for your customers and that goes for your coaches. And you really just want to be a sponge so that you can figure out the best way that's going to work, for you and your coaches. So I'll get into the kind of the guts of this. There's basically two main things that really build a six-figure income. If I were to really simplify this, it's two main things. The first thing is to continue to grow your team always. Continue to grow your team always. So I'm going to break that down into why and how. To be more specific, I said a little bit more vague, a little bit broader, continue to grow always, because it actually refers to two things. Continue to grow yourself as a person, personal development, and your team. Both of those things need to happen for sure. The second thing is to continue to develop leaders. Continually be developing leaders. Not everyone that joins you is going to join you as a leader. But in this business, fortunately, and it's one of the reasons I love this business, and one of the reasons when I first got in that I thought, I'm all about this, because anyone can learn to become a leader in this business. Anyone who truly wants it and understands how exciting this opportunity is can become a leader. So I'm going to break down those two important things in building a six-figure income, a little bit further. But before I say that, you have to fully grasp, and you've heard this a bazillion times, we've said it, until we're blue in the face, but you have to be a product of the product. And There's a couple of reasons that's so incredibly important. Number one is credibility. You have to be a product of the product because you can be trying to grow your team and trying to develop leaders. But if you don't have credibility, then neither of those things are going to work well for you. And they're going to be a struggle. And it's going to feel like an uphill battle. And it's such a minor thing, but such a huge, powerful impact when you have credibility and influence. Credibility and influence comes from your actions. You can be saying and training on all the right things, but your words will lose credibility if people don't see outwardly that you are practicing what you preach. So that is absolutely huge. And I know that that's a struggle for a lot of people. And it's, for a lot of people that you're talking to, that's why they're afraid to become a coach, because they're afraid that they can't be disciplined enough. It's really and truly, guys, it's just a decision you have to make. And you have to train your brain to be mentally tough, to have the discipline, to not be tempted and drawn to all the other things in your life that can be pulling you away, and not focused on what's really important to you. I'm assuming that because you're on this call, that this business is really important to you. And I know when I was building my business, initially for the first couple of years, I did it alongside a full-time job, and it was a very demanding, a lot of hours type of job. And so I didn't have time to waste, and I did have to really train myself to be disciplined, to work my business when I planned on working my business, which is every morning and every night, and then on weekends. And I had to be really disciplined about that. And I did have to make some sacrifices. You have to realize you have to make some sacrifices. I had to say no to some certain things. I actually started teaching fewer classes because I realized that teaching classes, I was not building my business while I was teaching my classes. Whereas if I could be at home, I could, possibly meet 2 or 3 new people during that couple hours that it would take me to teach my classes. So I really made some sacrifices. I definitely had just moved into a new house, and I love decorating, and I really wanted to decorate this house that we moved into, and I really wanted to, fully unpack and get settled in, and, that was something my husband wanted too, but this business was my focus, and outside of my full-time job, I wanted my hours. Obviously if it wasn't with family time, then it needed to be business time. And so, I remember when Shalene came to visit us, and I was embarrassed because the walls were all blank, and there were some rooms with no furniture in them yet, and I just did not have the time, and that was a choice, that was a decision to be building my business. And I'm so thankful and so proud of myself for doing that, because that did take a lot of discipline, and that's the type of discipline you have to have. I've had some coaches who have said, I'm thinking about getting involved in this or getting involved in that, and all really great things, but I just have to ask them, well, okay, that's awesome, and that would be fun, but what is most important to you? You have said you've got these big goals, for your business. You just have to decide, are these other things going to get you where you want to be in a couple of years? And, so it's just a decision that you have to make. Okay, so let's go back into continue to grow always. Never stop growing. So that refers to 2 things, like I said. Number 1 is your personal development, and that's another thing, of course, we talk about till we're blue in the face, but it is really, really key. And I know for some, if you don't enjoy reading, there's definitely audio programs out there. There's quick little videos now, like even John Maxwell's, 1-minute videos. There's a lot of different options for personal development. Obviously, our Success from Home magazine, the Success on Demand in our online office. There's a lot of different options for personal development. It does not necessarily mean you have to be reading a personal development book. Find what works for you. I remember, Mindy telling me that, she was listening to, I think it was Crush It, while she was running or something. I mean, find a way to make it work. If this is important enough to you, you will find a way to make it work. Otherwise, you'll find an excuse. So personal development, of course, is an obvious one. Now, why would you want to continue to grow your team. Why is that so important? The reason it's so important to continue to grow your team is because the financial driver in this business, like I said, is making other people successful. And as you are growing your team and you're getting your team members engaged, the more coaches, the more team members that you have engaged who are inspiring their friends and family members to become fit and or become coaches themselves, the bigger your business indirectly grows. And the bigger, obviously, the more messengers we have of ending the trend of obesity. That's huge. It's one thing to have a customer and help them get fit. That's great. That's, something we all love. But helping someone get fit and grow a business where they're helping others get fit, that's an even bigger win. So the more CEOs of a fitness business that you can develop and that you can inspire and develop as leaders, the bigger your business indirectly grows. And the team bonus is specifically structured to reward you for that. Specifically structured to reward you for that. A sale is there and it's gone. Hopefully you'll continue to mentor that person and coach that person and get them fit. But the biggest win is if you can inspire them to inspire the people around them. Because chances are they are getting fit, but kind of doing it behind closed doors. And afraid to put themselves out there, afraid of being judged if they did. It would take you believing in them and saying, look, you are inspiring. People are inspired by your results. If you made it your role to teach people what you've learned along the way, to teach people what you've overcome, you will feel so much reward on the inside. It is such a rewarding feeling to put yourself out there and realize that you have something to offer people, that you can help people that have never had someone that they trusted help them. Once you inspire someone to become a coach, I can't even hardly describe how good that feels to help someone open a business where their whole role is to help other people get fit and feel better and feel more confident. And at the same time, they are getting more fit because coaches typically get more fit as they work their business more because it's part of your business. You have, like I said, you have to do product to product. You've got to be showing that you're doing the work and you're getting some results and you're making progress. So as a coach, our role is to work out. Our role is to eat clean and eat healthy and be a good role model and inspire others. That's part of our business. It's what we do. Your workouts count as your work for the day. The time you take to eat healthy and eat clean and the decisions that you're making, against doing what takes you off track, that's all part of what you do as a coach. That's all part of your business now. So when you inspire someone to live that lifestyle, that's a huge win. And the compensation plan is specifically driven or specifically designed and structured to reward you for that. And the team bonus is specifically designed to reward you for the volume of engaged coaches that you have and the volume of product and programs that's transacting, beneath you. So part of your role as a leader is not only to be continually engaging with your coaches and inspiring them to get more fit, but like I said, informing them of the new products and programs, because the more engaged they are with the products and programs, the better results they're going to get. And that all, your coaches buying the new Vanilla Shakeology, buying T25, that's all volume that takes place in your downline. And that obviously triggers and fuels your team bonus. And it's a win-win because the more of your team members that have T25, that have Vanilla Shakeology, that have Insanity or Turbo Fire or whatever, the more likely they're getting fit and they're getting healthy. And like I said, it's benefiting your team bonus. So it's all a win-win. And they're getting fit and they're getting healthy. They are naturally going to want to work their business. You all know very well that a lot of coaches get in this business thinking that they just want to get in for the discount. And part of the reason they say that is because they're afraid they're going to let you down, or they're going to let themselves down. And so they say, well, I'm just in it for the discount, because that's kind of like they're covering themselves just in case things don't work out. But the truth of the matter is, once they are inspired to get more fit and they're using the programs and products that they were meant to be used, I mean, we've got the best programs and products, and people who use them the way they're supposed to be used, they get results. So if you've got coaches who are doing that and they start getting results, their friends and family are asking them what they're doing. It's just a natural thing. And then all of a sudden you've got this coach who's like, you know what, I thought I wanted to do this for the discounts, but people are now asking me where they should get T25, or people are now asking me where they can find the vanilla Shakeology. And then before you know it, this coach that signed up for just the discounts is like, by the way, what is my retail site? Because I've got these people that like want to buy from me. And so naturally they start wanting to work their business. But if you aren't engaging with them and you just sign them up and then they fall off the face of the earth, I mean, then that isn't going to happen. It's not as likely to happen. You have to be engaging with them. You have to be in contact with them and reach out to them one-to-one. So that is why you would want to continually grow your team. You're always going to be having more engaged coaches as you grow your team. It's just a given that 10 to 20% are going to want to work it, in my opinion. And then you may have a different percentage with your team, but I would say from what I've seen as a normal percentage of coaches that want to work the business, it's typically 10 to 20% of your team that really, really want to go for it, like want to go for diamond, or above, or really want to make this a business or a career or a full-time income, 10 to 20%. So that's not a whole huge amount of your team. So if you've got, 10 coaches on your team and you've only got one who you feel is really fired up, and the other one is, just your spouse who you made an emerald, but only one other one that's emerald that really wants to go diamond and is really fired up, that's not bad. I mean, that's pretty normal. If you've got 2 or 3, that's great. If you've got 12, 10 to 12 coaches and you've got 4 or 5 of them who are fired up, that's phenomenal. But I've had some coaches that, have 10 or a dozen coaches underneath them, and they're bummed that, half of them aren't responding to emails or aren't engaged, and they're really trying to drag and push them. And I think, no, they'll come around. It's not necessarily anything you're doing wrong. It's just not the right time for them. It's not the right time for them, but be there for them as a friend, as you were before they became a coach of yours. Still continue that friendship and continue to equip them. Obviously, keep them on your emails as long as, that's okay with them. And continue to equip them, because it just might not be their time. Everyone has their different times. Definitely have coaches where they are great, perfect fit for this business, but right now it's just not the time. It's just like getting fit. Some of you have had times in your life where you weren't fit. And it's not that you're necessarily a different person now, but there was a switch that went off for you that said, enough is enough. And this is what I want to do. I want to get fit, and I'm ready. And, I'll do whatever it takes. Same thing with the business. You're going to have some coaches who are the best fit, but for whatever reason, that switch, that light bulb has not gone off for them yet. And you just want to be there when it does. So how do you continue to grow your team? And, I don't want to get into social media training with this, because I'm sure all had that or are going to get that as part of this training. And Mindy does a phenomenal job. I mean, she's expert social media, expert with social media. I mean, she just does a phenomenal job. So definitely you'll get that training. But what I just want to say is you have to be marketing yourself. And I know that sounds really scary, but you are marketing yourself. You're not marketing Beachbody. You're not marketing, a picture of the DVDs or a picture of your Shakeology. I really very rarely post a picture of Shakeology, and I just did recently, and like I do it once in a great while, and because of the new vanilla Shakeology, I did post a picture of it, but with a recipe on it. But I very rarely do that. I instead make mention of it. I do things where I'm mentioning it, so you'll know about it, you'll hear about it, you'll know I use it all the time, but I try and do it a little more subtly. Here's why. When people look at your Instagram photos or your Facebook like page, one thing they're looking to see is, okay, if I follow this person, and am I going to be continually sold on products? The other thing is your prospects who are thinking about coaching are looking to see if you are continually trying to sell. And if they see pictures of DVDs and, things that look like you're trying to sell and offers and deals and all this stuff, they can get turned off by that. So you have to be pretty subtle, still have creative ways of, getting yourself out there, but you do have to be somewhat subtle. Just as an example, part of marketing yourself is also marketing your team. And this is one area where I made a mistake. I didn't do a team name up until fairly recently. And my reasoning, I can tell you exactly why I didn't. I was afraid that my coaches would feel like they were under me, when in fact I want them to feel like they own their own business, because they do. Each and every one of you, you are the CEO of whatever.com. You own your own business, and you have to be in that mindset. And I was so adamant of that, such a strong believer in my coaches being the CEOs of their own company and their own team and all that I was afraid to even do a team name. And so I finally did, because I want my coaches to be duplicating, what I do. So I want all of you, and I know Mindy right away did, the Go-Getters team. I really think it's important to be branding not only yourself, marketing yourself, but marketing your team. I've seen some teams, and Mindy's one of them, but I've seen some teams that they market their team so well that, like, I want to be a part of it. Like, it's so exciting. Shred Nation is a good example of a team. Their name is all over the place, and everything they do has the word shred in it. They have T-shirts for all the women that say "Lady in Shred." It's just cool stuff. And you don't need to have a big team to be doing that, but make it so that people see that it's something fun to be a part of. Okay, so marketing your team is really important, even if it's small. Even if you want to just consider your 4 customers the start of your team. There are no rules against that. Do what you need to do, but let people be a part of something that's fun and exciting. The other thing is, like I said, marketing yourself, and that's a little bit scary, but here's the deal. This is something that you do have to put some time and creativity and thought into, okay? Your posts and your pictures, believe it or not, your pictures are more important than the actual post, the actual content. I hesitate to even say that, but the more I analyze social media, the more I believe that is the case, because we're in such a quick. Everything is so immediate now with social media, with posting and Twitter and Instagram. Everything is so immediate. Everyone's scrolling through things so quickly on their phones, and what's stopping them is a visual. And so your visuals need to be great. Now, does that mean that you need to have some kind of perfect fit body, or that you need to be beautiful? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If you're thinking that, then you're following some of the wrong people. Look at some of the other coaches. I mean, there are some coaches that do just a fabulous job with their backgrounds and their lighting and the angles on things. And, if any of you are on Instagram, in fact, even if you're not on Instagram, even just from your computer, you can go to Instagram.com/whatever, Janelle Summers, if you want to see mine. You can see the whole collage of pictures, and if you go to someone random, you'll see that whole collage of pictures, and nothing catches your eye. Like, everything, all the pictures seem like muted colors, and like just people that you don't know, and things that you don't care about, or a pile of laundry in one picture, and a couple dogs in another picture, and just things that, and you may be the biggest dog lover, I am, but just things that don't necessarily stand out and catch your eye. Take a look at some Facebook-like pages or Instagram accounts or whatever that really have pictures that catch your eye, and you'll notice that when you're looking at a collage of pictures that have a focal point where the picture is not too busy, that's what catches your eye. Where the picture doesn't have a whole bunch of crazy font and crazy colors and crazy effects on it, that's too busy. And the reason I say it's important to look at the whole collage of pictures is because that's what people are looking at when they decide to follow you. It's a little bit different with a Facebook like page than it is with Instagram. With a Facebook like page, you don't have to pay as much attention to that, but your pictures still need to be great. So I just make sure my pictures are great for Instagram, and I use the same exact picture for Facebook. To save time, I use the same exact post on Instagram, and I don't have it feed to Facebook. I don't have that little feature that says, okay, have all my Instagram posts go to Facebook. I don't do that because then it doesn't make it as well onto the news feed. I just take that same exact picture and that same exact post, copy and paste it onto Facebook. Still using my phone. The only difference is then I usually add a question to the beginning of my Facebook post. Whereas with Instagram, I don't worry so much about having a question on there. But with Facebook, you have to be engaging. So most, not all, but most of my Facebook posts start with a question. And sometimes they'll end with a question too. But definitely start with a question. Okay, so that was the how to continually be growing. You have to be branding yourself, marketing yourself, and marketing your team. And doing that on social media, definitely being consistent with your posts and having quality posts and pictures especially. People are more likely to actually read what you posted if they like the picture, if it was something that made them stop on the picture. And again, you can have great backgrounds. I mean, we've got the whole outdoors as your background that you can use. You've got, if some of you belong to a gym, sometimes you can use their group exercise room to take pictures. If, go there one day, set aside half an hour and take a bunch of pictures in a few different outfits or whatever you need to do. Obviously, great lighting on food. Whenever I take a picture of a food, I mean, you'd probably all be surprised how much time it takes me to get a good picture. That's really where I spend a lot of my time, is marketing myself and marketing my brand, and even taking food pictures. I mean, I really make sure I have tons of sunlight coming in on the specific table that I use, and making sure that there's really bright colors and there's no messy plate around the food or whatever. I'll make the food and then transfer it into a clean bowl or whatever. I mean, everything just has to be appealing. I mean, that's marketing. That's not. I didn't make those rules. That's just how people are. They like to see things that are visually pleasing. That's how we are for the most part. So, okay, that is how to continually be growing by marketing yourself and marketing your team. The next thing I want to talk about is creating leaders. I think I'm going over my time, but I'll go through this quickly. Again, I don't want to have to reiterate the whole thing of why you want to be creating leaders, but definitely, having a team of engaged coaches is what's going to build your business larger and larger and larger over time and build your team bonus. And the more that you are training them, obviously the more they're going to get engaged and feel comfortable doing what they do. But before you begin training, what you have to do is inspire them. So one of the things I want to talk about in developing leaders is the fact that you have to inspire them first and foremost. And I've been a true believer in that since the start. And I think it was Craig Holiday, in fact, that taught me that you can teach your coaches what to do until you're blue in the face, and it can be the most simple tasks. But if you have not inspired them to want to do those things, then it's a losing battle. You have to inspire them to want to do those things. So how do you inspire them? What inspires people is when they see things or see results that they, in their mind, connect to solving a problem for them or it appeals to their ambitions. So one of the two. It either solves a problem for them or situation, or it appeals to their ambitions. So it could be different for different people, but you have to inspire them. And the way that you inspire them specifically is by giving them examples of success stories, business success stories. So where that starts is with when a coach joins your team, it's with the Getting Started Right call. And I'm actually about to do a newsletter, and, Mindy, I know you get this. You can forward this on if you want, or maybe it's something you've already done. But I'm going to go through exactly what I do for the Getting Started Right call. And I think it's really key. And everyone does Getting Started Right calls differently, but one of the things I'm sure to do is inspire them. Because I have coaches, just like everyone else, who thinks, well, I'd love to be able to make this a full-time income. I'd love to, but I work full-time. I'm very busy. I'm not good at sales. I'm not very fit. I need to lose 50 pounds or more or whatever. And so they have all these ideas in their head why they wouldn't be good. And that's fine, and I always, relate to those concerns. That's the first thing you should always do with hesitations and objections, is relate to them. That's the first thing you do. But then I clarify, and that's where I do that on the Getting Started Right call. So with the Getting Started Right call, the very first thing I do is I send them a welcome email, of course, and I have attachments in there. One of the attachments is called an About Me form, where I ask them just questions about their lifestyle and their goals and, who they are and how much time they want to spend on the business, what their goals are for their fitness, and what their fitness, history is, and where they want to go with the business, and what's the best way to reach them. All different, just basic questions, so I can learn more about them. So that by the time we get on that Getting Started Right call, the very first thing we focus on is them. And, it's different for every coach because it depends on what they put in that form. If it's someone that has a lot of self-doubt and really does not feel like they are a good role model for fitness and nutrition yet, then we spend a good bulk of the time on that Getting Started Right call, just me helping them feel like they can get on track with their fitness and nutrition. Because I cannot go into all, information about coaching when it's going to be white noise to them, because they don't see themselves yet as even remotely close to being someone that can kind of coach others and be successful with it. So I need to let them, feel like they are on the right track with their fitness and nutrition. But to be honest, the vast majority of people that join me as coaches, they do feel like they're on track. They do feel like they're on track. They may not feel like they're at their ideal weight. Definitely not. Most of my coaches don't feel like they're at their ideal weight or that they're fit enough yet. But they definitely feel like they are doing the work and they're on the right track. So for those people, I go over what their strengths are. And I talk about, the fact that they've, even though they may have lost 20 pounds and they don't think that's nearly enough, I'll say, that's awesome. Do you know how many people would want to lose 20 pounds? 20 pounds is not easy. 5 pounds is not easy. You do have a success. So I really build their confidence and show them that they do have something to offer other people. And then sure enough, usually they're like, yeah, actually I did inspire my cousin or whatever. And I really build on their strengths, build on the things that they're already doing that coaches do, and make them realize that this is not going to be as hard as they think. And I encourage them to post it before and after, because that always gets a huge response. And usually they're so excited when they do. They're scared to do it, but they're so excited that they did, because then they see how many they inspired. So that's the first thing on the Getting Started Right call, is that I go over their About Me form and highlight all of that. Then I talk about the fact that, they can do this. I give them the vision of this opportunity. That's what I call it, the vision of this opportunity, with business success stories. So I give examples of coaches who have done well in the business, and I give examples with people I think they would relate to. So if I'm talking to a teacher and she's concerned, because of her schedule or her background or anything like that, or if I'm talking to, someone who's maybe older or maybe someone who's younger, I really try and let them relate to someone else who's been successful and say, I understand how you feel, and that's how this other person felt, but look what they've done. So I really try and relate them to someone else so that they can see they are no different. They absolutely can do what this other person has done. It's just a matter of, deciding and committing. So the next thing I go over with them is the fact that this is not about sales. So that they know that they're not stressed, because you have some coaches that will cancel maybe early on because they feel like they're not successful. They feel like they're letting you down. They see your emails coming in weekly, or they see other people, making success club or having success, and they think, okay, I'm just going to cancel because I'm awful with this. I've done nothing, and they haven't made a sale yet, and they just assume that they're not going to be good at this. So I let them know what to expect right up front, and I let them know that when I was first a coach, I hardly made any sales, if any at all, and that's not what this is about, and that if you just, really are inspiring fitness and, being a product of the product, and really marketing this whole lifestyle and marketing themselves and being consistent with that and laying their foundation and really just, improving on their own fitness and health and helping other people along the way, that things will start to happen and things will start to move, and they will actually start making some sales without even trying. When that starts to happen, it'll just start to happen a little more naturally, and people will start to join their team. But to give themselves time, for that transition to take place, so that right off the bat, they're not feeling all this pressure and stress and then thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to cancel. What was I getting myself into? You really want to, in that getting started right call, give them a feel for what to expect and assure them that they will do well and build their confidence and assure them that they can't let you down, that there's nothing they can do negatively, and that if they follow the trainings and they really get engaged and get on all the conference calls and get on the webinars, and really just plug away as best they can, that they will do well. So give them assurance and let them know it's not about sales. I think that's really important. Again, that's the way I do it. Not everyone would agree with that. The next thing that you need to do on that getting started right call is explain to them, give them some homework, in my opinion. In my opinion, you need to give them some homework to do. I used to try and go over every little thing in the getting started right call, and those getting started right calls were lasting, 2 hours. It was just outrageous. So, now I go through what I just went over just now with you guys, and then I explain to them the homework, which is a couple of trainings, and all of you have access to it. It's on JanelleSummers.com. You just log in with Team Hardcore, and the password is fitness, and you go under recorded trainings. And the two trainings I give them as homework, number one is the core activities training, which I highly recommend people go through. Everyone goes through it. Like I said, all my new coaches go through it. The core activities training. It's like 11 things that I think every coach has to be doing if they want to be successful in 2 to 3 years. And then the other one is the new coach training, where it's actually Mindy and I that go over a ton of information about Facebook, and then some information also about hosting your first fitness challenge. So I go over with them on the Getting Started Right call, then I'm going to be sending them that homework, and to let them know to email me if they have any questions. And then while we're still on the Getting Started Right call, I say, okay, next we're going to set up a follow-up call, and we actually put it on the calendar. I've had some coaches tell me, oh, I didn't set up the follow-up call. We did our Getting Started Right call, and I didn't set up the follow-up call, and but I'll do that soon or whatever. I really believe you've got to set up that follow-up call while you are still on the phone, so that they know as soon as they hang up, they've got to get that homework done, get some information under their belt before they talk to you in 1 week. So that gives them more incentive, and it gives them structure. It gives them, something to focus on. I let them know lots of information is going to be flying back and forth. Don't feel overwhelmed. Stay focused on these 2 things that I'm going to give you to listen to and watch and take notes on. Don't worry about everything else that's going to be going. There's going to be plenty of time to learn everything about the business. Stay focused on these couple of things, and we'll talk again in 1 week, and we get that on the calendar. If they need 2 weeks, then fine, we do 2 weeks. Then when we do our follow-up call, I ask them what they thought of the trainings, and then we go over what Success Club is, what Success Club, what it entails, how to earn the points, what benefits are associated with Success Club. And the other thing we go over in that follow-up call is how to host and run their first challenge group. And sometimes they're they've already kind of gotten one started, and other times that's our opportunity to really brainstorm some ideas and talk about the pros and cons of, doing a challenge group, your first one, where you don't require them to buy anything, and, emphasizing that at least have them sign up as a, free member on your retail website, a free customer, go over those kinds of things. And then we, from there, of course, like I said, always give them a what's next. I let them know that they can join one of my accountability groups coming up. So I always have push groups going on. So that's kind of like my structure and my system for my coaches, is that I do the welcome email, I do the getting started right call, where I hopefully inspire them with success stories. I tell them it's not about sales. I explain to them homework. We set up the follow-up call. Then in the follow-up call, we go over Success Club and the Beachbody challenges. And then I let them know what's next, which is the accountability groups that they have to qualify for. But there's the Push to Success Club group and the Push to Emerald group and the Push to Diamond group. So it always gives them a what's next. And I think that's really key. And for everyone, that could look different. How you design yours, for yours, it could be a training like Mindy's doing. I hope you're all really paying close attention to how Mindy is running this group so that you can duplicate that. So the other thing that's really important, obviously, is being very repetitive with your training. Being very repetitive. Don't assume that your coaches know anything. I remember early on when I went to a live event, a live training, and I remembered a coach who had been, and this person was not on my team, but he was embarrassed to tell me that he had been a coach, I think it was like 3 months or something already, and he had no idea what his retail website was. No clue. But he was a very smart guy, had a director level type position in the corporate world, and he was kind of said it, laughing, but he was like, I don't know what my retail site is actually. Coaches get to the point sometimes where they're so that they don't even know where to begin. So you constantly have to be repetitive in your trainings and in your emails and in your tips, because you never know when that information is going to hit that coach at just the right time where they want to be engaged in the business. Because prior to that day, everything might have been white noise, because they had some other situation going on in their life that was completely consuming of their thoughts and their energy. And now all of a sudden things have changed, and it could have happened this morning. Literally, some of your coaches this morning, a light might have gone off and they said, I want to work the business. And now all of a sudden your emails are being read for the first time ever. And so it's the first time ever that they've seen that T25 was just launched. I mean, you would be shocked, but it happens. And so for that reason, you have to be repetitive in your training, and don't assume that your coach is something, because you may have said it seriously 20 times already, and that coach never read those, or that coach didn't pay any attention or didn't read the emails thoroughly or whatever, because this business was just not on their radar at the time. So be extremely repetitive, and also be very thorough. Whenever I'm explaining to my coaches, how to do something, or, even to my customers or coaches that are just signing up or whatever, one thing I've learned, and I learned this even through being a fitness instructor, is just to be very, very thorough and clear and precise. Kind of explaining things to someone almost as if you were explaining to a child. Because again, there's so much that's overwhelming in this business, and you really have to explain things, and don't assume that they know how to log into their own online office. Don't assume that. I mean, in so many of my emails, you'll see me say, go to teambeachbody.com, log in with your username, which is your email, log it, and I'm like specifically explaining some of the stuff. Then click coach, and I put in all caps coach. Then click coach online office. Be very specific, because you'll be shocked at how many coaches are like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that's how I logged in. Or I didn't know who I could call if I didn't remember my email. I didn't know what, you would be shocked. They're just afraid to ask you sometimes, or afraid to speak up and say, you know what, I actually have not paid attention to your emails for the last 6 months, and I just didn't know how to tell you. And so instead, they cancel. because they just feel so bad. So every now and then you really want to just put out there an email or a message or a one-to-one text or message or something and say, how can I help you? How are your workouts going? Is there anything I can do? If you want to work the business, please know it's never too late. I can get you started with the basics again. Those types of messaging to them is huge because a lot of them are afraid to speak up and tell you. Another thing, obviously, is doing your calls and doing webinars, for your team and being very regular and consistent with that so that they know what to expect. And then, of course, hosting Super Saturdays, hosting a quarterly meeting. You don't have to have some big, huge team to host local meetings. I mean, that is huge for other people to get together and form some relationships and, maybe find an accountability partner who's local and just have someone that they can, connect with on a regular basis and really feel a part of something. Another one, obviously, in developing leaders is recognition. That's huge. I really am a firm believer in recognition and giving shout-outs to coaches on Facebook. If you follow me on Facebook, you'll see that all the time. And actually, to be honest, when I do shout-outs on Facebook, I get more prospects reinterested in coaching when I do that than any other post I could possibly do. When I do a shout-out for my coaches, that's when I get, people who have been on the fence for maybe months or weeks or whatever, suddenly they're like, oh, I saw that post, that was so cool, that you do that, or, you support your coaches like that. I really think I want to consider this a little bit more, those kinds of things. When people see that you are supportive of your coaches and that your coaches are succeeding and that you're developing a winning team, they want to be a part of that. So do not hesitate. And yours don't have to be that a coach is rank advanced. It could be that they've had a weight loss success, and give them exposure for their challenge groups. I mean, you'll see. I always mention when my own coaches are having their next challenge groups. I mean, I'm surprised if I have any people on my like page who could possibly even be any one of my customers, because I've encouraged them all to join my coaches. I really have, and that's what I believe in, is really giving exposure to your own team and really making it your priority to help them succeed. And I really try and do that. So recognition is huge. Facebook groups, recognition within Facebook groups, an email from you, a text from you, featuring them, in the email to the team or in a newsletter, just really create excitement around success. And it doesn't have to be a rank advancement or hitting Success Club. It can be, anything that you see as a success. Someone getting their first coach or whatever. So just a couple other things that I'll mention real quick that I think are key in building a six-figure income. And one is having multiple CBCs. I know a lot of you are probably, already have a second or even third business center. That's what I mean by CBC. It's an additional business center. But if you don't yet, I'm sure that once you get the 2-star diamond and you hold that qualifying status for 6 consecutive weeks, then you're official 2-star diamond and you get to open up a second business center. And when you have multiple business centers, that really grows your income. Now, there's a little sacrifice you have to make in doing that. You don't get as much recognition because you could have diamonds, you could have 2 diamonds, obviously, in your first CBC, and then now you've got 3 diamonds in your second business center, and so you actually have a total of 5 diamonds, but you're not recognized as a 5-star diamond yet. So yes, you're sacrificing that recognition a little bit, but trust me, financially speaking, it is smarter to have multiple CBCs and to forego, some of that recognition. You're still going to get recognition. You're still going to end up hitting 5-star. You're still going to end up hitting 10-star. But you do have to make that decision and decide what's right for you. If making a financially strong business is what's important to you, then I recommend you do multiple CBCs, because the most recent CBC helps and benefits your first business center, and it helps and benefits all the coaches in between your first business center and your second business center. And you're obviously making commissions from the sales that come into your second business center, You're making commissions from the sales that come into your second business center, and those exact sales, that same transaction is adding team bonus to your first business center. So it's almost like you're getting twice the benefit from each transaction, and that's just with two CBCs. So as you get more and more CBCs, the benefit grows even more. So the benefit grows exponentially as you have more business centers. So that definitely is something I recommend if you're looking to build a six-figure income. It will happen faster if you open additional CBCs and you grow your most recent CBC. It's a hard decision to make because I know everyone wants that, status, 5-star diamond, 10-star diamond, or whatever. Because the other thing, that second CBC, third CBC, fourth CBC, as those business centers become diamond, they count as diamond, for your other CBC. So in other words, let's say you're 2-star diamond in your first business center, and then you open up your second business center, and that business center becomes a diamond. Now you're a 3-star diamond in your first business center because you are one of your own diamonds now. In my first business center, I think it's 2 or 3 of my diamonds are me. How cool is that? So, it's financially smarter if you open multiple CPCs, and I'm sure Mindy has already said that, but just as a reminder again, because you have to be repetitive, that is financially smarter. And this second thing is to hire an assistant if you need to. That's something I did early on, and I'm glad I did. And I wouldn't have done it had my sister not really harped on me about it, because I wasn't making any money in my business yet. So how could I possibly afford to hire an assistant to help me when I wasn't making any additional money with my business? And my business, building this business was why I was going to need an assistant, because just working full time, I wasn't needing an assistant. But by adding, this extra responsibility of trying to build a business, I was becoming so incredibly busy around the clock, not getting any sleep. And she was like, you've got to hire an assistant, whether it be to do your laundry or run errands for you, or be helping you with minor things in your business that you don't have time to do. Whatever it is, you need to hire someone even before you can afford it. Invest in yourself. If you believe in yourself that you can build in this business, you'll do it. And I absolutely did believe in myself for the business. I knew I could build this business. I knew I loved it. I knew I loved what it was about, so I hired an assistant. 10 hours a week. I think I started her off at $9 an hour. Time it was a college girl, and she, just helped. I just made a list. I just brainstormed some things that I didn't need, that I was doing, that someone else could be doing for me. And that's what you need to do, is just start brainstorming different things. And yes, that takes some buy-in from your spouse or significant other. That might be the hardest part, but if you can do that, by all means, I highly recommend it. That definitely helped propel my business, and gave me more sleep and less stress. So I recommend that. The other thing, and this is something that Shalene goes over a lot, and it's the last thing I'm going to mention, is just to, if you're not going to hire an assistant, or if in addition to having an assistant, is to delegate certain things to, like, ELANs. Shalene talks a lot about hiring ELANs, which is where you basically put a description out for the service that you need done, and you have a bunch of people bid on that job, per se, and you can hire someone very inexpensively to do something for you. It might be, hiring someone to create a blog for you. It might be hiring someone to do something on Instagram or Facebook for you on a regular basis, whatever. But don't think that you have to be successful in your business before you start investing some things like that, like an assistant, or like using ELANs to help you become more successful. So that is all for tonight. I'm sorry I went way over, Mindy. That's my typical, that's what I typically do. I apologize. But Mindy, if you want to open up to questions, I do have time. If you don't have time, I totally understand.
Wow, that call was awesome. And I'm really sorry, you guys, because this was a recorded call, I cannot take questions from Janelle. But what I can do is, if you guys do have questions after you listen to this webinar, which was amazing, please go to the Star Diamond Facebook group and you can post your questions there. And Scotty, Meg, Brandy, and I can answer them for you. So Janelle went over a lot of different things. Like I told you, I needed you guys to take notes. So I don't really have to cover anything else, because she touched on everything that you need to do to get yourself sitting at 6 figures in your business. So you have to dream big. You can't sit there and think, oh, well, Janelle Summers can do it because blank, or Mindy Wender can do it because blank, or Scotty Hobbs, or Randy Botts, or Meg. That is an excuse, and I know that it is because I made the same excuses myself when I first started. You really gotta stop making excuses because the only person that it's hurting is yourself. So as we went over so much amazing things in these last 5 weeks in this training, like Scotty said about cutting certain things out and so you have more time for your family and your business. Janelle said, if you think you don't have time right now, maybe think about hiring an assistant. I remember I hired an assistant when I couldn't afford it. And I did 5 hours a week, which was 1 hour a day, Monday through Friday, and I paid her $50. So eventually you can start upping their wage. You can just get a college girl. I mean, this is Facebook. They know how to use it. So definitely think about these things, you guys. If you are treating this like a business, these things shouldn't seem out of this world to you. And well, I gotta admit, when I heard that I needed to get an assistant, I said, yeah, right. And I put it off and put it off, put it off. So, I mean, of course you're going to think that probably. But you gotta think of yourself, I am going to be earning $1,000 a week in 12 months. I am going to be earning $2,000 a week. I am going to be, earning $1 million in this business. You really got to see yourself in that light and believe that you can do it, because that is the point. You guys signed a commitment to be in this group, and that means you have something inside you. You believe in yourself. You committed. So let's finish out the last couple weeks of this training and apply what we've heard tonight and what we heard in the weeks prior, and really start growing your team and getting to that diamond level, and then you could start working on getting to the star diamond level after the training's over. So thank you guys for getting on tonight. I believe in you. We all believe in you. Let's get to work and do this. For those of you who are looking for a webinar explaining what coaching is, my coach Tara, my diamond coach Tara, is hosting a call tomorrow night. I will post the information in our Star Diamond Facebook group. And make sure that if you do have a team, get this recording link and pass it on to your coaches and get them to listen to this call. She went over so many amazing things that your coaches need to hear. Have a great night, everybody, and I will talk to you on Wednesday.